Hi, you might notice this first little thing in the corner, but yep, that's right. Anyways, I'm a little late. It's turn two, as you can see. Trewq is playing against TVP. Trewq here is on green-white hex typal, and TVP is on Temur ramp. So here, Trewq is play turn 1 Parasitism into turn 2 Akaja, which is kind of the insane curve you want this deck to be doing, because Parasitism can quickly grow up to a higher power than Akaja, and will be obviously going from Akaja's counters, which will allow you to kind of get that card advantage engine on board early. And obviously this becomes flying, which makes it evasive and allows Trewq to be able to kill. That evasion is especially going to be useful to potentially be able to sneak in this one of keys. So on top of this, Trewq does have another backup Akasha in hand and another Parasitism, though notably they don't have... oh wait, no, Parasitism is good and does not require you to have different colors. TVP started off with our Mana Dork in Iker Drowned and is kind of going from there, it seems. Anyways, back over to Trewq. They drew a land this turn, which is nice. They're not able to currently one of keys, so I think here it's likely Host Farm Babysitter, Parasitism, and Drift into white on TVP's end step, which will let kind of Trewq just be able to cast that one of keys next turn, and potentially even sneak it in on top of a flying Parasitism. Trewq uses pays 1 to let Akaja attack, and attacks with the Emergent Parasitism, growing it up to 4, which draws a card because it has greater power than Akasha. Exogenous Stalwart was recently buffed and should serve as some good support for hexes. So this is just like a big guy and can buff a creature by 3. TVP choosing to chump with the Iker Drowned to block the Parasitism, and milling a card and using the other mana to vertical shift the Akasha here. So going to be taking no damage, but losing their Iker Drown in the process, which is going to be an annoying loss for TVP here. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Marilite would have been like a decent thing that TVP could have theoretically done later by sneaking over Iker Drowned, but this was unlikely, so it's fair that TVP did kind of got rid of that. Yeah. Okay, we're seeing dropping Parasitism and Host from Babysitter here. Notably, neither of these Parasitisms have white, blue, non-green permanents, basically, to grow up. Though, obviously, Akaja is going to be replayed next turn, which will give Trewq that permanent. So here we'll probably see fetch a... Oh wait, right, TVP doesn't run Taplands in this deck, I don't think. So I assume we'll just see Winged Guide hold up fetch here. And Winged Guide just gonna get a basic, get a chumper, let TVP stay alive to hopefully get into their big late game cards that can stabilize them, and ideally they can win from there. Yeah, looks like we're seeing Winged Guide. Makes all 4 birds when you only want to make 1 here. I'm actually not sure how that is linked, so let me go check real quick. Is this linked like that? Yeah, it looks like only the 4x is linked, which is a little cursed. I think that is because Token Puller is missing checking the adventure box. Oh my god. I cannot talk. So yeah, Trewq does have a couple options next turn. most likely they're just going to play out the Akaja. And I think this makes the most sense for them because it is like, it's going to draw them a card and it uses their mana up pretty nicely and allows them to get that white to drift into white for next turn, or as they have drawn this host farm babysitter, be able to play that. And I think Trewq does want to be pretty aggressive in this matchup, considering TVP is like a ramp deck whose goal is to, ramp. This is how ramp works, So we will probably see some of that kind of thing from TVP. There's Akaja. Okay, moving around the parasitism, I guess. And goes to attacks. Looks like we'll see this parasitism growing up to a 5/4, which will draw Trewq another card off their Akaja. And yeah, that card could be something. Getting to more mana to be able to play this Exogia Stalwart is going to be something pretty relevant for Trewq, because even if TVP does have like pretty nice higher mana value cards, the Exogia Stalwart is going to be able to push a lot of damage. Yeah. Yeah, true. TVP opting to chump the parasitism here and just take one, just kind of trying to stay alive to again make it to that later game where they can play they can actually play their cards. But notably, next turn, Trewq may be able to get this one of keys down and start giving these parasitisms flying, which is going to make them harder to block for TVP. And they are choosing to hold up the drifting over playing the second host arm babysitter, which is pretty notable here for that. Rapier Explorations is nice for TVP as just a draw additional land play, but does that matter if TVP is taking how much damage? 5, 7, 8, 11 damage, going down to 3 next turn potentially, which is rough. And well, if they're going down to 3, which would actually be 2 because Akaja buffs one more. If they draw land, they can use Exogia Stalwart here to get lethal because TVP is not developing a blocker. And yeah, so we're going to see TVP going for explorations, which is going to mean Trewq has a potential lethal next turn. On turn 4. Is this turn 4? No, this is not turn 4. I lied. TVP fetches, takes a damage. And yeah. Gets an island. Okay, oh yeah, and they do actually have enough enough mana to go for Winged Guide here and get out a bird to be able to chump that really, really big parasitism that is the main thing threatening their life total. The issue is they will get to Maralai though. They will get to Maralai, which will actually give them a proper answer to it, even though it is now out of Fritter Skitter range. And on 6, Fritter Skitter will be able to answer Akaja, though obviously we know that Trewq has another one laying there in hand. I have been recording, right? Yeah, I did not forget to record. This is good. Okay. Akaja being moved to the front row, which might signal wanting to use the attacker block pay one. Draws yet another host farm babysitter, which is pretty good. One of keys can be cast here, but I don't know how worth it is to give the parasitisms flying, considering TVP's only blocker has flying. So here I can see an argument for either just stalwarting or going Akaja plus backup or Akaja plus both babysitters. It really depends on what Trewq wants to do here. I'm not sure what the play would be. And you do really need to be like considerate of your mana here because you only have 3 and Akaja does cost 1 if you want to attack with Akaja. Alright, Trewq opting to just swing. Buffing that parasitism, which is not going to draw them a card here, notably. So here the TVP is going to be taking 4 damage, assuming they chump the big parasitism, which if I was TVP, I would do that. You're just trying to stay alive right now. Though I could see an argument for blocking. No. No, I don't see an argument for that actually. Okay, so spends 3 mana to Exogenous Stalwart, embracing it to put 3 counters on the Emergent Parasitism. So this here will allow Trewq to draw the card while getting out a second really big Parasitism. That one, in fact, going to be bigger than the original Parasitism. This puts TVP in like quite a bad spot here because Mirelie, although it can tap down a big Parasitism for 1 turn. Oh my god. I can tap down a big Parasitism for 1 turn. Because Trewq is forced to block here, the other big Parasitism just comes in and kills Mirelie. Oh, hey, it's, let's see if I can get it. Archaic Sagipratax Fragitagex? I think I got it. I hope I got it. Mir, if you're watching this, tell me if I got it or not. It would be very funny if I got it. Alright, TVP is down to 7. Kind of not as much things to do here, because just thinking. I suppose now that I have the silly VTuber model in the corner of the screen, it's not as it's more entertaining when there's not much happening in game. Trewq's saying that they probably let me check. I probably messed up there for damage done. Alright, TVP, going to their turn. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what TVP is able to do here. They can kill Akasha, develop Fritter Skitter, but then they're dead. Okay, well, wait, what? Trewq has lethal on board if you do this. I suppose no matter what, I'm pretty sure Trewq has lethal on board. I don't know if TVP runs wipes that they'd be able to draw off or up here explorations. But if they do, that would have been the play here, because, I mean, here Trewq attacks with the 6/5 and has 7 power outside of that. You're dead on board, you're tapped out. Yeah, I guess that was basically just a concede play there. Oh, right. Oh yeah, because Akaja died, they didn't have the green-white permanent, but they did have the One of Keys and Akaja's in hand, so they had lethal there still. I suppose because I haven't seen Trewq's sideboard, but TVP did. I don't know if TVP posted their deck, so I'm not gonna spend much time looking into it while I sideboard. I think if TVP is board wipes, they're going to be bringing those in. But otherwise, I'm not really sure. It could be a lot of different things. I guess I can look for their decks, but also that's like, nah. I don't wanna search for their decks really. I mean, I found TVP's deck. It's got an interesting sideboard, which does notably include board wipes, which TVP will be able to bring in. I don't know what Trewq's sideboard looks like, but okay. TVP's opening hand, and there we see one of those board wipes I mentioned of the Great Exodus. Notably, this requires having a creature on board, which is going to be a actually relevant cost for TVP. Also, did not mention, Ranulf is TVP's heir, despite them running some non-basics, as seen in these Alpine border holds. There are some games where TVP will likely be able to just stick to basics, in which case Ranulf is actually really good to be able to heir, and it can also sometimes, I believe, just be pulled out of the sanctum. This is a pretty good hand for TVP. They have Tensile to make a token, Vertical Shift as removal, and Prismatism is always pretty nice. Notably, they have no blue sources, which is pretty awkward, but hopefully this Voidstone Shard will be able to get them into one. Trewq, on the other hand, has they've got Hazenwild Totem and a lot of hexes, which is just really, really huge here. And one of keys as a tutor, obviously quite nice. TVP does have Great Exodus, but that requires double blue, which is looking pretty hard for them to get. I think TVP's mana base is one that I personally, when he was building the deck, was pretty skeptical on. So we'll see. Also, wait, why is that the default Voidstone Shard? That really should not be the default Voidstone Shard. I'll need to fix that. Okay, passing the turn here. Prismatism does not find a blue source. Trewq draws another Hazenwild Totem. I don't know how useful that's going to be, but that first one getting dropped on presumably now, though we might see Emergent Parasitisms less Svakar Close enough. I'm gonna hope that's right. Mir made the hex names unpronounceable. It's fine. Svakar Svakar What if I just look at all the hexes? This can be what I do when nothing's happening in game. I can just go through all the hexes and try and pronounce them. Great entertainment. Host farm babysitter using the Zvakar. I'm just gonna call it emissary from now on. Using the embracing the emissary, putting the counter on the host farm babysitter, and obviously this babysitter is going to be able to get in probably for the next couple turns, which will grant easy access to these embraced cards. And TVP will go to 18 here. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay. Study the histories is good, but unfortunately TVP has no blue sources. This Voidstone Shard is going to have to put in work. And especially with this Hazenwild Totem here, that's going to start making, or potentially totems next turn, depending on what Trewq does. Really buffing out Trewq's board. This is going to be pretty annoying for TVP. And these parasitisms are also going to get up to 2/1s with flying, which, I mean, they kill you. They kill you. It builds up, even if they're all small on their own. Trewq's deck is kind of a good example of like a creature IO deck, and I'm really happy that we get to see hexes being something viable in Voyager. I personally definitely got by this deck game 1, playing colorless ramp. Obviously, haha, aggro beats ramp, so shocking. But I think it was, at least for me, it was a very fun and interesting game to play against Trewq there, where they were able to keep me off 7 mana to get to Shattering of Myral by casting 2 Apostle Entheots. If you don't know what those cards are, I might bring them up. Here we're seeing Hazenwild Totem used again, so Shattering of Myral is all is dust, but with Sanctum, and Apostle Entheot exiles an all-in permanent. So they kept me off mana rocks to stop me from getting up to 7 and all is dusting them effectively, which would have stabilized me and let me kind of pull ahead there. Host farm up to being a 3/3 here. Trewq did find that second green source they were potentially looking for here, but they did embrace one of the parasitisms, though obviously they can cast embraced cards at this point. So here we might see 2 parasitisms plus Svakar Tajek's emissary. Which it looks like Trewq is indeed going for here. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Oopsies. Closed the wrong tap. Okay. TVP spending 3 mana here, presumably to standoff, which is another one of their board outs they brought in. TVP still looking for a blue source, though standoff could be used for its alt mode here that is not board wiping to search for that blue source. So yeah, we see standoff cast here. But TP is not saying which mode this is for. Which is like, I mean, I suppose it's implied that it's board wipe mode, but technically should still declare. I don't think that's worth mentioning in chat. Because it's pretty obvious that, it's fairly obvious that this is intended to be used as a board wipe here. Though it's not a very effective board wipe considering Trewq, sorry, considering that Trewq basically lost parasitism, considering Hostform Babysitter is effectively just a 1/1 hex anyways. So it was, yeah, a pretty rough board wipe there. I think it honestly might have been better to search for a blue source. So here we could see one of keys coming down. We could see Hazenwold Totem, potentially an Altar of Euthanasia making its appearance. I think most likely here we're going to see a sneak of one of keys potentially. No. It might be better the Hazenwold Totem. No, because you don't have creatures in your hand. I guess this embraces cards with creature types, so it does hit the Archaic Sagittarius Rajatajax. Now that I figure out how to say that card name, I'm constantly going to do it because it's so fun. I'm probably still saying it wrong, but you know, I'm mostly right. I'm mostly right, surely. So Trewq is going to be able to tutor here. So we'll see. Archaic Sagittarius. The thing that's getting me is the KG consonant cluster. The KG consonant cluster is so evil because it's Pratakazrajatajaks. Like, the fact that one is the voiced version of the other is just pain to say. And also the Archaic Sagittarius, like, it looks like there should be an L here, but that is an I to my understanding. So it just goes straight into Archaic Sagittarius Rajatajax. I think I'm missing the G. I think that's the thing I'm messing up. And I'm pretty sure that X is supposed to be pronounced like a Z. Oh well. Yeah, one of keys gotten ninjutsu'd, or sneaked rather. So here we see Hazenwild Totem being used with the Emissary to put a counter on one of keys, which did draw into this Akaja. TVP just Pathbound Bloom here, which is going to be able to finally fix them into blue. But it looks like TVP is conceding, making this a 2-0 win for Hexes. Hex Table up 2 games already, so looking pretty good, especially after that buff to Ixaja Stalwart. And Akaja. It's fun to see what this new deck has in store. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.